Hi, this is Martin Lyons with the Man Woman Academy again, and I thought today that talk about something suitably controversial with you all, but very relevant. The topic is how and why women castrate their men, sometimes consciously, sometimes not so, and what to do about it. And please know, there's a companion video to this one about how men psychologically mutilate women. So this is about, the stuff that we do to each other. It's unconscious. It's not in alignment with our real goals and our real desires about who we are and how we want to present to the world and how we want to be seen and how we want our relationships to go. But it's what we do. These are mines in the minefield of relationships, and we need to know about these things so that we can choose to walk in a conscious, positive way. It's kind of like our shadows. We've all got so much stuff. There's a great understanding, you may have heard this, about how do you define courage. A lot of people say, courage? That's like the absence of fear. That's when there's no fear. No, it isn't. Courage means fear is present, and in spite of the fear, we act anyway. That's courage. It doesn't take courage to act when there's no fear. It takes courage to act when there's fear. So all this kind of transformational work is all about, first of all, it's about relationships. Because everything is relationship, whether it's me relating with a significant other, or with you, or with myself, or with money, or with what I do in the world, with work, or with my spiritual or other beliefs. It's all about relationship. And transformational work isn't about learning tips and techniques how to change what's out there. It's about changing our relationship with whatever it is, which then affects what and who shows up in our life, to be sure. But the focus of the work itself is transforming our relationship with what's out there. And transforming our relationship with what's there really begins with transforming our relationship with what's in here. So our shadow, our habits, our unconscious habits and motives and everything else, the more conscious we can become of the stuff that's operating us, the more it moves from being something that is operating us unconsciously to something that we can get a handle on, we can work with. So we're not here at all like talking about how men are victims of just mean, cruel women, or women are victims of just mean, cruel men, and that's it. We, as individual men and women, have an awful lot to say about where we are and what we're accepting and, how we're responding to it all. And the idea of all this work is to empower us, to really empower us in the situations of our lives. So we're taking one specific thing today, and I just want to make really clear from the beginning, I'm not beginning by saying men are the victims of mean women castrating them. No. Okay. Hopefully you believe me. You trust me on that, and you're gonna stay with us and see what we're talking about. So women, before women, men. What is it when we say a man's being castrated? What does that mean? It means that I'm being made to feel badly, or the intention, rather than I'm being made to be, the intention is to have me feel badly about who I am, to feel less about who I am and what I produce, and my value as a producer, because that is such a huge part of what it is to be a man. As men, we're basically we respond to life in pretty much two ways, one of two ways. We get it done or we don't. We win or we don't. We do what we said we would do or we don't. We produce or we don't. We win or we lose. Even our going out looking for some fun is commonly referred to as scoring. Scoring. It's all about winning. Men want to win. And with women, we want to win big. We want to win, be acknowledged and approved of and appreciated for what we've done. There's a lot of reasons actually, that guys are compared to dogs. One of the reasons is because that's what dogs want too. Dogs just want to win. What dogs want more than anything is good boy. Here, I'm going to give you a rub. Yeah, we like a rub. But first and foremost, good boy. You did great. You won. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's what we want. And the reverse is true, that it's devastating for us to be told, like, really, what a bad losing guy you are by our women. That really hurts deep. It's very different for women because men have very large, simple, sensitive egos. We do. And if you look at a dog is so easily uplifted or devastated by a few words. It doesn't take much. And I shall tell you a little story. The other day, I live in Austin, Texas. And the other day I went to Barton Springs, which everybody here knows. It's beautiful. It's a spring-fed outdoor pool. It's like a big, big pool. And it's situated in like a park, and there's trees, and it's really nice to hang out there. And the parking is gets pretty busy, so sometimes you have to park a little ways. So there's kind of a little road that drives through an area of park. It loops around, and the whole purpose of this road is basically to provide extra parking on the side of the road. So when I was walking back to my car, I saw a couple of ladies. They're sitting on the grass, just literally feet from the sidewalk, just talking. And they've each got their dog with them. And at one point, their dogs, they're just playing, they're sniffing, they're wrestling, they're doing what dogs do. And they ran into this little road. And a car was coming. Fortunately, the cars on this road, because of the nature of this road, they go very slowly. And so the car was able to brake in good time, no problem. But these women, they got their dogs back, and they started to lay into these dogs. You bad boy! One of them slapped one dog on the nuzzle. They just and the dogs were devastated. I don't think the dogs knew what they'd done. They just heard, Rover, Rover, and they don't have an intellect to translate. Especially something that happened minutes ago. So anybody that knows about dogs, you don't train dogs like this. But they were taking out maybe their embarrassment on the dogs, and they were giving the dogs hell, and the dogs just curled up, and you could see, if they were in a room, they'd be in the far corner of the room, curled up, and if they're boy dogs, just licking their nuts, because these, had just gotten really laid into, just licking, just checking they're still there. They got really hurt for just being dogs, just doing what dogs do. They didn't do anything wrong. They were just doing what dogs do. And these women gave them real grief and didn't take any responsibility, or not externally, for actually they were the problem. They weren't watching their dogs. They didn't have them trained to not recognize and go into a road or whatever. They were just talking and ignoring the dogs, and the dogs just did what dogs do, and then the dogs bore the brunt of it. So that's not right. And there's a couple of things I'm saying about that for you to just hold on to, because that'll come up with what we're saying. So anyway, women castrate their men by acting in such a way and speaking in such a way that the men feel much less about themselves and their production, and it knocks the wind out of the sails, and they just shrink back. And it actually spoils, it hurts their production. It is castrating in many ways. It's emasculating. It cuts our production off at the root. And it's not the way to get what you want, ladies. It is not the way to get you want. But as we're going to see through this video, there's a reason that you do it. A good reason to do the wrong thing. So there are different ways. The first distinction is consciously intended from completely unconscious, unintended. Unconscious, unintended is actually, the castration is as a side effect. The woman's focus is not on the man and cutting him down. Her focus is on cutting herself down. That she has a sense of such worthlessness that it's really not possible to please her, to make her happy. She, in her world, doesn't deserve it. She doesn't know what she wants. She's not willing to acknowledge what she wants because she doesn't believe that she deserves to have what she wants anyway. So her relationship with herself and her desires and her own goodness or her self-worth are very low. And just as a consequence of that, a guy can't win with her. He can't make her happy. So she is by nature castrating. And any woman who is committed to being miserable, who is committed that it doesn't matter what it isn't good enough, she's castrating, just by virtue of being that mentality. So that's the unconscious, unintended. Then there's conscious, but without any idea of how much it devastates a guy to be at the receiving end of the unleashing of a woman's complaint and anger and criticism. Devastating. Women convey energetic charges that they attach to language. It's like what we would call an astra, a weapon. In an interesting thing, if you ever take interest in, for instance, the great stories of old India, there was an incredible battle of Kurukshetra, where many, many warriors were killed. And the weapons are bows and arrows, but they're not bows and arrows. That's the bow and the arrow was a means to attach energy in the form of mantras that were incredibly powerful. And the arrow was just a way of aiming and sending that mantra to its target. But it's like what's attached to the arrow. So a word is like that. A word is an arrow that's sent out to meet a target, the audience, and it can be, very loving energy or very meaningful energy or all kinds of things, or it can be a very vicious, ruthless, cutting, gutting energy that really does incapacitate a guy, incapacitate. And a lot of women really don't realize what they're playing with here and how it lands on guys, because guys aren't like women. Women can give and take this stuff very easily. Women, by nature, they can be like really, not all women, of course, not all women, but there's a common mood that many women can engage in with each other or about each other that's just plain bitchy. And they're fine with it. It does, they don't get devastated by it. I mean, they can get hurt, obviously, by each other, but as a general rule of thumb, it's just not that big a deal. So if we look at when girls play, I've got kids, so I've seen girls and boys, and I'm clear about very different ways of interacting. I mean, there's this thing that can happen in school with girls, where girls can, just like that, be so mean and cruel, like, okay, nobody speak to Ellie Mae today. Nobody give any attention. She's not, no, you better not. No, whoever the ringleader, the head girls of the group are, the ones that got control of the group, they just say, this girl, today, for no reason than she feels like it, she doesn't exist. Nobody be nice to her, nobody talk with her. Then the next day, it could be, okay, Ellie Mae can come and you can play, but Jane, we're not going to allow Jane in our group today. Boys don't play like this. This is just not something boys do. And it just doesn't make any sense to boys. There's a cruelty, there's a capacity for meanness that it's not so significant with the ladies, but with the guys it can be very significant. So I remember years ago when my ex-wife, who's also a dear friend, but she had just gutted me over something. And she got over it, and then she's like looking at me, and I'm just devastated, And she's, what's the problem with you? I'm done. I said it. I'm over it. And I said, you don't understand how ruthless your words are, the effects that they can leave. It's like you're basically sticking a knife in, and you're pulling it out, and you've cleaned it up, and you say, okay, I'm done now. What are you lying on the carpet bleeding all over the place for? What's wrong with you? I'm done. You've got to have a little more responsibility with what you're doing here, what you're playing with, this energy. It's devastating. It takes a while for guys to recover. So, there's that. And then there is there's the different types of castration itself. First of all, there's a full frontal, which is the easiest because it's pretty clear. It's kind of like, don't you ever clean your car, your room, your hair, your house, your clothes, whatever. It's like a pretty clear, right? Then there's the kind of the hidden castration, which is where you give a guy a win inside of a lose. It was kind of, well, thanks for taking me out to dinner. It's a shame that the food wasn't any good, or the service sucked, or that the table was in such a horrible location, or, she wasn't pleased. Her experience was, well, thanks for trying, but bottom line was, I don't know, I didn't like that so much. Try again harder next time. So he tried, but he got a win, but it doesn't feel very good. The third one is called the bear trap. And the bear trap is, it's a bear trap. There's no getting out of it. It's kind of like where whatever he does, it's not good enough. Whatever he says, it's not good enough. It could be like you're determined that he's not going to win. You're just determined. And it may be because you really want to punish him, or because you're just committed to being miserable. And he's trying his darndest to give you options for pleasure, but that's outside your frame of reference. How you know life is that it's miserable, and your relationship with it is to be miserable, and that's how you kind of get attention. That's how you love yourself, because you're miserable, and it's something to feel, and it's a drama. It's a way to get lots of attention. I'm suffering so much, and to get other people, oh, what's wrong? Oh. It's a form of love, of getting love. It's a very, very low form, but it is a form. I'm just feeling so without energy and overweight, or I'm just not feeling, oh wow. Well, how about going, maybe going to the gym? There's this really great gym. No, they're not so good. I've heard all kinds of stuff about, okay, well, maybe exercising. Is there the stuff at your apartment? No, it's just not good enough. It's not like, well, is there a gym near you? Oh, sure, there's this gym, but it's way too expensive. I couldn't begin. Well, honey, I'd like to help you. I mean, you're a dear friend. Let me pay for the first one. I'll help you out. Yeah, but it's, even so, I mean, I've got to get there, and it's just too complicated. And then there's the kids, and then it doesn't matter what you say. There's one excuse or argument after another, and you're wasting your time as a guy. Whatever you do isn't good enough. And then there's probably the worst castration of all, which is, honey, what's wrong? You're feeling, guys, right? You're feeling something's not right here. I can tell, good. That's a step in the right direction. Honey, what's wrong? What's going on? Nothing. No, what's wrong? I said nothing. Well, is there anything that I can do? There's nothing wrong, and there's nothing you can do. Wow. And we are left with the clear awareness there's a problem, and we don't have a clue how to fix it. We don't even know what to fix. And that leaves us totally like, So what's going on with this whole deal? Generally, okay, we've got different elements. We've got when it's totally unconscious. So, you need to share, guys, how it feels. This is actually the way out of all of this. How it feels to be on the receiving of all of this. Because whether it's intentional or unintentional from her part, let's say it's intentional. It's intentional because she wants to get your attention. You haven't been listening to something. She may not have been explaining clearly. She may have been imagining that you're just like a stupid version, a dumbed-down version of a woman, that you have, all this kind of innate, kind of subtle psychic sensitivity. You've got the same antennae she's got, and if you loved her, you'd know already. And ladies, it doesn't work like that. You didn't get us as guys because you want a girl. We're guys. We don't know what you know. We don't have a clue. When we go to a party together and the door opens, the guy sees, hey, that looks like Bill over there. And, that's where the drinks, that's where the snacks are. Yeah, seems like a lot of people tonight. Oh, she's kind of, and then the door, that's it. With you ladies, everything's gone into like slow-mo. And it's like subtle messages going back and forth, like, who does she think who she is? And this guy's with me, don't even think about it. And, oh yeah, she looks like, she's giving him such a hard time. What a bitch. I'm not gonna, wow, I can't believe what she's wearing. And who do you think you are? And there's all this, like, awareness and subtle communications and judgments, and it's already on. It's already on. And of course then, hi honey, and all the good face, because they're not going to give their games away to anybody. It could be seething back there, but all you're going to say is, hi. Oh, it's lovely to see you again, and da-da-da-da. We don't know. We haven't a clue of all this stuff going on. And generally, ladies, unless you tell us and make it clear, we don't know. So, very commonly, why she is castrating us is to get our attention, because we haven't been giving it to her how she wants it. We haven't been listening. And generally this will make us listen. So some guys, they are, more stupid than most. They try to ignore the castration, or they try to make jokes about it, like, they just try to act like funny. That just turns the heat up. I mean, she's just going to drop a bigger bomb on you. Sooner or later, she's going to raise the heat up till you've got it. Sometimes we don't hear it until she's packed her bags and she's going to stay with friends. But, we don't want to get that far. Guys, you have to be a little bit more aware of what's going on. And we'll talk about that very, very quickly. So, anyway, that's the predominant reason why she's doing it. Or she's a plain, miserable, mean bitch by nature. And that's what she does. And then what kind of an idiot are you, guy, that you're staying with that ongoingly? I mean, really? What are you doing? I got to tell you a story about that. So this one guy that I have a acquaintanceship with, good guy, he trusts me enough. He knows the work that I do to some degree, and so he started sharing with me his experience in life, relationship. And he told me that he lives with a woman who basically starts gutting him the moment they get up. And I said, why do you sleep there? Why are you there? Well, because I don't want to hurt her feelings. I said, wow. You want to give her something that you're not even giving to you? Are you serious? Like, what is the point of this? Well, I do actually try to leave, and each time I do, then she gets really upset and unhappy, and she cries, and she's like this, and she's like that, and so I give her a break, and she can last a couple of days sometimes, and amazing. I said, how long has this been going on for? 3 or 4 years. 3 or 4 years. I said, the problem here is that you've really mislaid your balls. You're so out of touch with your own feeling and your own desires. You don't have any strength. And she's just gutting you. Part of the reason is because you are willing to take it. On some level, she's really annoyed with you, willing to take this crap. But you're not willing to call her. You're not willing to straighten her out. You're not willing to give her the option that, baby, you need to change or I'm out of here. So she's giving you extra grief because you're not helping her be the woman she'd like to be. Or if that's not true, just because you're dumb enough to stay around. So anyway, with him, what I was suggesting was to really start getting in touch with the things that he really likes to do and really start to give some good attention to himself and really start telling us the same thing that I'm going to tell you, all you guys. It doesn't matter where you're at in this deal. The one way to start unwinding the whole castration game is to start telling her as soon as it happens, wow, I felt that. That felt terrible. And you could say how it felt and where it felt, because some things you feel right in your gut or in your heart or in your throat. You feel choked or you feel paralyzed or, your nuts shrink. Or there are physical locations for feelings. So you can actually tell her. You don't say, you made me or you. This isn't about her. This is about you. Let her figure out by hearing what you're saying, how it feels for you. That's all you had to tell her. If she's completely miserable and ungrateful, you tell her how, wow, I feel like I can't win here. I just feel like I'm losing. I want to make you happy, but it doesn't seem that I can do it. And that's really difficult because I don't feel like pulled to be with you because I want to make you happy. So that can lead to the next part of the conversation. So I'm going to stop that right there to catch up with the other one. So where it's like she wants your attention, so you let her know you got it. So, oh honey, wow, I really, really felt that. Like, what's wrong? I'm sorry, I guess I haven't been listening. You tell her what you're feeling. And you say, what's wrong? Like, is there anything I can do? Can I fix this? Can we, go somewhere else here with this? If she's too pissed off, like, nothing's wrong, no, you say, well, okay, so it feels really bad at my end. So I need to get away because I can't function with this. This is devastating. So I'm going to go out. I'm going to go to the garage. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to hang with the guys. I'm going to go away for a little bit, and I'll come back when it's safe, when you want to talk to me about it, when you let me know what I can do to fix it. And if she starts giving you more grief, say, honey, I get it. I really do. But I can't take this. This isn't good for either of us. I'm going to be a pool of jelly in the corner if I sit and take this right now. And I'm not going to be able to do anything for either of us, so I need to go right now. And if she gives you real grief, you can't take like a man. I am taking like a man. I'm telling you like a man. I'm telling you this doesn't work. I'm telling you I'm sorry, but I don't know what I'm sorry for. I'm asking you to communicate in a way that I can really be a man and fix it and have you feel good. So you let me know when you're ready for that. And meanwhile, I'm being a man. I'm not putting up with more of this shit right now. But you don't start off on that foot. You start off in a very loving foot. Because a lot of the time, guys, it really is our fault because we haven't been listening. We haven't been trying to listen. We haven't been wanting to listen. And that's another thing that I go into. There's another video, I think it's about the number one tool for relationship rescue or something like that. You just scroll through the videos I've got out there. You'll see it. About the number one reason relationships fail and the step, I don't exactly remember the wording, but it's about that. It's about relationship rescue, and it's about, the step, like the solution. It really works. And this is, at this point, if you're getting castrated, if she's going to the point of castrating to you, this is a breakdown. At the time that it's occurring, it's a breakdown. So she's not feeling attended to. She wants your attention, so you give her your attention. You start saying, honey, I really feel that. I get something's really wrong out there. So I'm really ready to listen. I'm so sorry I haven't been listening. This is where you begin to unwind the whole deal. And you listen to that video, you watch that video, you'll get that. It continues from here. Ladies, here's the thing. This is one way to get his attention. Sure, kick a guy in the nuts. You've got his undivided attention on his nuts. And, if it happens that you've also got a collar and leash on him so he can't get away, you've got his attention. But really? Do you really think that you're going to get the most out of a guy who's like in such doubled over distress? And how do you feel behaving like that? Here's the thing, guys. The majority of women actually don't want to get away with this behavior. They don't want to feel like a bitch. They sure don't want to look like a bitch. And they want a man. They want their man to be their man. They do. They don't want us to be a pussy. But that doesn't mean being a domineering brute at all. It means being strong enough in ourselves that we're actually able to feel what we feel, acknowledge our experience, and then say, hey, what's going on? What are you doing here? Let me fix it. Let me bring us both back to where we should be. Let me bring us back to when I'm listening to you and you're feeling loved and you're able to speak to me in a loving way as the woman you are to the man I am. So as a guy, you're not being done to. You are, in one sense, but the point is, why? How can you be fully responsible for being at the receiving end of this behavior? That's the question. And if it keeps going on, how can you be fully responsible, like my friend I was talking about, for being willing to sit there and take it? Day after day after day after day after day after day. I mean, there's a lot of women out there. We don't have to settle for a woman who's fundamentally grateful, unappreciative, unhappy, out of touch with her own desires, castrating bitch, whether she intends to be or not. And we're doing her a great service when we help her realize, recognize who she's being unconsciously by letting her know how it feels to be at the receiving end of your behavior. Wow, I just really tried. I try to make a wonderful meal for you. I try to take you out somewhere nice. I try to do these things, get these things for you. And I hardly hear from you except complaints. Wow. And I actually feel like I don't know how to make you happy. And I feel like I'm really losing. So what can I do to win with you? Okay, and ladies, back to you. You, in general, I mean the women that I'm speaking to here, you don't feel good about having to present yourself like that. You know, you want to feel your nature as a woman to be loving and to be loved, to be adored, to be worthy of adoration. You want that, to nurture and to be taken care of. You don't want to have to be a bitch. And you don't want to castrate. This is not something any of us want. So the beginning is recognize it's going on. The next thing, guys, own it. Own the feeling. And it's all about what you feel. It's not about what they made you feel, what they made you do. And number 3, now you've got my attention. What can I do to fix this? And that's it. And then do go to that other video because you're into the next part now about listening to a woman and woman speaking to a man in a way that he wants to hear, in a way that he's attracted to hear. He wants to know what you want. Okay. Thanks for spending time with me again. I look forward very much to being with you for the next. So many more coming your way. Take care now.